So I wanted to take the time to inform the public of my Public Records Act requests that I've done recently. When I got the notice that the LAUSD was going to make this move to shut down one of the class settings from Southgate Middle School, I immediately thought like, okay, as fast as humanly possible, I have to start making these requests. They take a while. It takes them. They have up to 10 days to even respond, and then there's no set time when they can provide the records. And I only have until August to try to intervene this move. So I just the pub. You guys are the ones that I feel, parents, whoever I give this video to, whoever I send this video to, this is, how you can also help. You can also request these exact requests, or you can request communications between us so that you don't have to go through all this initially. You can just see, where we're at, and they shouldn't have it public information, our exchanges. But I just wanted to give the public a heads up as to what I'm waiting for, my request. So I laid it all out on my couch, see if it helps. On Thursday, March 5th, 2026, I requested any and all records documenting the most recent reductions, eliminations, or restructuring of special education programs at Independence Elementary. The reason for that is because they cut one of the programs at the school, and I want to show the public that they did cut that. Somebody informed me that they eliminated the I guess, the high functioning autism students program. So also records identifying the most recent football program and cheerleading program that were approved, adopted, or implemented at that same school, because when I was there and they denied me that alternative curriculum autism program, suddenly they got a new principal after COVID. Unfortunately, the principal we had at that time passed away, and they brought in this guy, and somehow he majestically was able to be approved for funding for a football team and a cheerleading team. So I just want to see everything, how it went down, like documentation. Any documents reflecting the budget allocations, funding approvals, expenditures, or financial resources provided for the football program, cheerleading program. Any records reflecting the budget funding for the upper level autism or specialized autism program that was reduced or eliminated at that school. Any communications between them, how that happened. So that was my very first one. My second one was Thursday, March 5th, 2026. This was for administrative communications and decision records. So any emails, electronic communications, correspondence between the district administrators and the school administrators regarding referencing Independence Elementary School special education program, eliminations, autism programs, instruction programs, budget, relocations related to the school program. So any communications between those guys, I want to know. That's my second one. My third one was Thursday, March 5th, 2026, 11:20 a.m. It was the Southgate Middle School special education funding. So pursuant, I am requesting the following: budgets and funding records, internal communications and analysis, decision-making documentations, comparative records, any records comparing funding for special education programs at Southgate Middle School to other programs at the school, such as athletics, extracurricular programs, newly implemented programs like football or cheerleading. Any of these portions would help. Please provide specific legal exemption. So that's that. That's my third one. My fourth one, Friday, March 6th, 2026 at 9:46 a.m. I requested the Office of Administrative Hearing case involving my son. That's the one where I represented my son in court. Sorry. I do not. I think my mouth is dry. I'm just so emotional. Specifically, total amount of compensation paid to Attorney Donald Irwin for services rendered in connection with this matter. So all contracts, engagements, agreements, retainer agreements with Donald Irwin, he was the attorney that was fighting for the LAUSD. Invoices, billing statements, payment records, records showing the total amount paid by the district, all purchase orders, all communications. I want to know how those communications went. Any documentation reflecting approval or authorization of payments for these services. I want to know who authorized this. And I'm getting to something with that, okay? I went to the Office of Administrative Hearings so I could fight for an IEE, which was going to cost the district, I think, $6,000. And they ended up taking me to court and paying Donald Irwin to fight and say no, they were not going to provide that. So I wanted to see how much they paid Donald Irwin to do this. They did not want to pay the $6,000 for the IEE that I requested. Instead, they paid Donald Irwin to fight me, to say no. Let's see. This is just communications. I wanted to know the recent threat to shut down the autism program at Southgate Middle School. So this is just communications. This is not a PRA request. My next one, March 9, 2026 at 8:58 a.m. I requested formal risk assessment of proposed changes to Southgate Middle School alternate curriculum autism program. So, no, I'm sorry. This is not a PRA request. This is an email that I sent to Yolanda Bueno. So Monday, March 9th, okay? March 9th. Remember, I sent this March 9th. I just made a video where March 11th, she responded by saying, please don't record me. I did not give you permission. I sent this to her and I thought I can send these things to the Equity Compliance Department. I thought I could send this to the Parent Special Education Department. And apparently they responded saying that I cannot, that this is a matter with just Yolanda Bueno and Anthony Aguilar. So I forwarded all these emails to them, but so they're stating the School and Family Support Services, the Equity Compliance Department, they're stating that this is not a matter for them. Okay, I just want to raise that awareness. So I asked these guys if they can initiate a formal assessment of the potential risk associated with the proposed closure and redistribution of the alternate curriculum autism program at Southgate Middle School. So I'm waiting on an answer from them for that. They have not responded. Here's another email to those guys. Concerns regarding the closure. This one I did send to Eric C. Marusti. Oh, so on this one, I'm writing regarding the proposed closure. I want to make it clear. Oh, sorry. I'll make another email with the communications between me and these guys. For now, this video is just to show the Public Records Act's request in case you guys want to give me a little canillazo and help and request the same request or just have them respond to me. So you can always call the numbers I've provided and say, hey, have you guys responded to this parent for every, request she's made? And these are the requests. So March 9th, 2026, 9:15 a.m. I requested state funding for LAUSD. So specifically, I requested the records that identify or reflect the amount of state funding allocated to the LAUSD per enrolled student per average daily attendance. Any calculations, reports, or documents used to determine or explain the per student funding amount. Documents reflecting funding received under the LCFF, the local control funding formula, including base, supplemental, and concentration funding. Any internal or external reports, memoranda, presentations, or summaries describing state funding allocations per student. This request includes, but is not limited to, budget documents, financial reports, funding allocation schedules, accounting records, emails, letters, memoranda, or other communications discussing or describing per student funding from the state of California. The time frame is from January 1st, 2018 to present. So that's another one. On Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 9:40 a.m., I requested school police reports regarding an assault at Southgate High School at a Southgate High School football game. I will explain this later. This was against a special child under the spectrum of autism. He was assaulted. And I want you guys to know how the district handles these assaults against a child under the spectrum. On Monday, March 9, 2026. Oh, this is interesting. I'll just say it real quick, but this is another video that I'm going to make for later, how they respond. Who's the one that answered me? Who is it? Joseph Green, Administrative Coordinator of the Office of Student Civil Rights, because so the Equity Compliance, the School and Family Support Department, and the Office of Student Civil Rights are the ones that are receiving all of my emails, and this is what Joseph Green from the Department of Office of Student Civil Rights stated. Greetings. This is to acknowledge receipt of your communication regarding concerns about the potential removal of the alternative curriculum autism program at Southgate Middle School. Based on our review, the concerns raised are not within the purview of the Office of Student Civil Rights. Because the concerns appear to relate to programmatic, administrative, and special education matters, we are including Southgate Middle School and applicable Region East administrative staff for review and follow-up as appropriate. For assistance beyond the school level, you may also contact Region East at 323-224-3100. I keep calling those guys, and everyone just takes you round and round and round. So at the end, I just want to speak to the Chief of Special Education. So another PRA, Public Records Act request. I'm just going to call them PRA for short, if that's okay. I requested LAUSD schools with swimming pools, maintenance cost, and approval records. And I'm sure you know where I'm going with this. I want to know what it costs for you guys to maintain a swimming pool in those fancy schmancy schools of yours. And so can you cut that swimming pool maybe? Like, I'm pretty sure there's community pools in those cities, or I'm pretty sure those, rich areas have their own swimming pools. Can you guys maybe cut that instead of our special needs programs? That'd be great. But let's just see. They're probably going to say no. So I want to show the public, how much it costs versus how much it would have cost to keep this program here at Southgate Middle School. So the number of schools within the district that have swimming pools, the names and locations of schools that currently have swimming pools on campus, any facility inventories, campus facility reports, or infrastructure records that list swimming pools as part of school property, any records reflecting the annual maintenance, operational, or repair costs associated with each swimming pool at district schools, any records identifying who approved the construction, installation, or continued operations of each swimming pool, including approvals by district administrators, facilities departments, or the Board of Education. Board of Education, remember me, 2019? I cried to you guys. I was so vulnerable at that time. I cried to you guys for help. And so, do you guys approve things like this? Do you guys approve swimming pools? I'm very interested in knowing if any board member actually signs off yes to a swimming pool, knowing that there was a parent in 2019 before your very eyes who advocated for an alternative curriculum autism program at a school that the district members stated did not have enough children and enough funding, and all of that indeed was a lie, because then that same school got funding for a football team and a cheerleading team and this big board that states the days off, like this electronic board. I guess people got tired of going to put the letters. Now you guys, they needed, it was important for them to have like an electronic one. But yeah, are you guys on these? I want to see everybody's signature. I think it's important for me to know who approves what. So yeah. Another PRA request on Monday, March 9, 2026, 11:08 a.m. Comprehensive Autism Program records for the past 5 years. So the number of autism programs that have been open or newly established within the district during the past 5 years, including the names of the schools, the dates of opening. The number of autism programs that have been closed, discontinued, or relocated within the district during the past 5 years, including the names of the schools, the dates of closures or relocation. The number of students affected by each program opening or closure, any records identifying who approved each program opening, closure, or relocation, including district administrators, departments, or the Board of Education. Are you guys signing off yes to pools and yes to closures for special education programs? Any internal communications memoranda or correspondence discussing the rationale, planning, or decision making process for opening, closing, and relocating autism programs. I really want to know what your wording is behind this. I'm very, because I hear it from you guys when we speak on the phone, and since I'm not supposed to be recording per our California law, right, Miss Bueno? That's okay. Let's just know what you guys are saying amongst each other. Okay, so it should be public information, and I should be receiving that ASAP. Any reports, evaluations, or assessments used to determine the need for opening, maintaining, or closing these programs, any internal communications, or documentation of community, parent, or staff input related to program changes. That I very much would like to know how involved you have parents. Another Public Records Act request, credentials and qualifications of Miss Yolanda Bueno. Is she qualified to speak to me? A parent and a professional? Are you qualified to speak to me, Miss Yolanda Bueno? Any resumes, curriculum, employment applications, or statements of qualifications submitted by Yolanda Bueno to the LAUSD. Records reflecting Ms. Bueno's professional licenses, certifications, or credentials, including but not limited to teaching credentials. You stated you were a special education teacher. Administrative credentials, special education credentials, behavior analysis certifications, any other relevant professional certifications. Records reflecting Ms. Bueno's educational background, including degrees earned, institutions attended, and fields of study. Did you study broadly the field of special needs, special education? Documentation demonstrating qualifications to oversee or administer programs relating to special education, including any specialized training in special education law, individualized education programs, behavioral intervention strategies, applied behavior analysis, behavioral or psychological assessment of students with disabilities. That is very important. Records reflecting continuing education, professional development, or ongoing training completed by Ms. Bueno relating to special education behavioral support or disability services, including training logs, professional development certificates, conference attendance, district-sponsored training records. On March 10th, 2026 at 1:51 p.m., I requested records of a communication with Yolanda Bueno. Any written, electronic, or recorded records documenting the statements made by Yolanda Bueno to me, the Cynthia Torres, parent of, during our conversation on March 10, 2026, approximately 12:04 p.m., including phone call logs showing the call from no caller ID originating from the district or associated phone numbers. Any transcripts, summaries. I want to see what you have to say about our conversation. I hope you recorded the conversation. I really do. Supporting documents or evidence that Ms. Bueno referenced during our conversation to justify the closure of the class setting. Any emails, memoranda, reports, internal communications, notes, or records prepared by Ms. Bueno or other staff members that summarize or corroborate the content of the conversation I had with her regarding this closure. Tuesday, March 10, 2026 at 1:58 p.m. I requested records of support provided by Yolanda Bueno. Oh, sorry. It was a phone from the district, but it's just a separate message. I thought that they were calling. All right, records of support provided by Yolanda Bueno to families of special education students. So Any communications, case notes, meeting records, reports, or documentation in which Ms. Bueno is listed as having provided guidance, support, or services to families of students receiving special education services. Any email correspondence, internal memoranda, or official documentations evidencing Yolanda Bueno's involvement with families regarding IEPs, behavioral intervention plans, special education accommodations or modifications, advocacy or support for special education students and their families. Any record reflecting formal or informal roles, appointments, or assignments where Ms. Bueno worked directly with families of special education students. Any internal assessments, follow up reports, or confirmations showing outcomes or actions taken by Ms. Bueno on behalf of families of special education students. It is very important for me to know that because I would love to know, and public, if you've dealt with Ms. Bueno, please contact us. I really want to see an assessment of your child, see the recommendations that the assessor provided, and see what the services were as a result of those recommendations. There's an equation there. There's a very important equation there. And I'll talk about it. I wish I could talk about it right now, but I'm afraid to derail. So I'll make a video where I talk about the equation as far as a child being assessed for special needs services, the assessment report being turned in to the IEP team, and then the recommendations. I'm going to make a video where I show the public what some district assessors report and then what their recommendations are. It's very important for you guys to, I'm going to try to make like the most simple equation I can for you guys. But let's just continue so I don't derail. Another Public Records Act request, Tuesday, March 10, 2026 at 2:05 p.m. Criminal record checks and live scan for Yolanda Bueno. So records reflecting whether Ms. Bueno had undergone criminal background checks, including a live scan, fingerprinting, as part of her employment or any role within the LAUSD, documentations on which any live scan, fingerprint, or background checks were performed, records confirming the results, any communications reports or internal documentations related to criminal background compliance requirements, any policies, forms, or supporting documentations that demonstrate Ms. Bueno's compliance with required criminal background and live scan procedures for employment with the district. The same goes for Anthony Aguilar and Eric Simarusti. Sorry, guys, we just have 4 more to go. On Wednesday, March 11, 2026 at 9:33 a.m., I requested special education credentials, trainings, and professional qualifications of Eric Simarusti. So any resumes, employment applications, records, teaching credentials, the same thing that I did for Ms. Bueno, I did for Eric Simarusti. And the same thing I did for the chief, Anthony Aguilar. I requested on Wednesday, March 11th, 2026 at 9:40 a.m. policies and standards for the alternative curriculum autism program. I promised you guys I would have a formal response to you guys. So what I want to know, and hopefully what you want to know, is the district policies, administrative bulletins, program guidelines, procedural manuals describing the structure and operation of the alternative curriculum autism program within the LAUSD. Any documents identifying the required student to staff ratio for alternative curriculum autism programs, including but not limited to teacher to student ratios, para, educator, or instructional. Sorry, it's checking my security camera. Let's see. Para educator or instructional aid support ratios, behavioral support staff requirements. Number 3, any district policies or guidance establishing the maximum number of students permitted in an alternative curriculum autism classroom. Number 4, any documentation describing the minimum qualifications, certifications, or training required for teachers, paraprofessionals, or behavioral staff assigned to alternative curriculum autism programs. Number 5, any policies or standards governing behavioral supports provided to students in an alternative curriculum autism program, including policies regarding behavioral intervention plans, functional behavior assessments, positive behavior intervention strategies. Any policies or guidelines describing how students are determined to qualify for placement in an alternative curriculum autism program, any records reflecting curriculum standards or instructional framework used for alternative curriculum autism programs, including modified curriculum guidelines, any documentation reflecting state or federal laws, regulations, or guidance used by the district when establishing or operating alternative curriculum autism programs, any training materials or guidance documents provided to staff working within alternative curriculum autism programs regarding compliance with special education law and program implementation, any internal memoranda reports or documentations describing the required supports and services that must be provided to students enrolled in an alternative curriculum autism program. That one is going to be very dear to me. All right, the next one is Wednesday, March 11, 2026 at 3:49 p.m. Records relating to investigation of Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. So he's the most recent superintendent that he got arrested for something. I don't know. I looked into it a little bit and it stated that he moved some money to some organization or to some business. And right now he's actually suspended with pay. With pay. But we'll find out more about this when the district gets back to me. But law enforcement communications, legal process served to the district, internal district communications, vendor contracts and procurement records, financial and budgetary records, anything that has to do with this guy. Communications with outside counsel, Board of Education communications, closed session records, insurance notifications, legal billing records, whistleblower and ethics hotline complaints, lobbyist or vendor communications. Let's see what else. Internal investigations, ethics reviews or audits, campaign contributions or political communications, calendars and meeting records. Identify the specific record being withheld, cite the specific statutory explanation relied upon, produce all reasonably segregable, non-exempt portions of the records. So yeah, let's see what happened to that guy. And the most recent one, records relating to qualifications and appointment of Yolanda Bueno. So on this one, I requested appointment and selection records relating to qualifications or sustainability, delegation of authority or supervisory structure, complaints or concerns regarding qualifications, any records reflecting complaints, concerns, discussions, or internal communications regarding Yolanda Bueno's qualifications, training, or capacity to oversee or administer special education services. Basically, any records relating to the recruitment, selection, or appointment of Yolanda Bueno to any leadership, supervisory, or administrative role within the district, including but not limited to any communications, memoranda, reports, or internal documentations discussing, evaluating, or referencing Yolanda Bueno's professional qualifications, credentials, training, or sustainability to oversee or administer programs related to special education services. Records reflecting the scope of Yolanda Bueno's authority within the district, including but not limited to delegation of authority documents, organizational charts identifying her supervisory role, documents describing her authority over special education programs or services, documentation reflecting authority to approve, modify, or oversee IEPs or special education program decisions. So yeah, that was the very most recent one. That one I think I sent today. Yeah, March 16th, 10:36 a.m. It's March 16, 11:47 a.m. right now. And so I just decided, you know what? Let me just do a timeline of all the PRAs I've requested. Just, public information is important to me. I hope it's important to you. And you can always, just go back and pause this video and type all of them in, or ask chat to do a transcript of this video, and just to do a summary of every PRA I've requested. Maybe you guys can request the same, or you guys can request, hold them accountable for responding. If all of these requests are important to you, if you're thinking to yourself right now, wow, you know what, I would love to know all of that as well, then let's help expedite this. All you have to do is call 213-241-6701 and have them transfer you to Anthony Aguilar's secretary. She's probably going to send you to voicemail, but just let her know, hey, there's a parent that's asking a whole lot of questions that I personally would like to know as well. Like, can you guys please respond to her as soon as possible? Like, this is it's interesting to us to see how you guys, are going to handle this. Like, so far, she states you've been ignoring her, and yes, you guys have been. Anthony Aguilar, this is the fourth time I call you, please, let's talk. Like, I have a lot of questions for you, sir. So yeah, thank you for listening. Watching this video or listening to it if you just played it, in your car or something. And thank you for all the support. And we'll see what happens.